Okay, so I was watching the last video I posted, and the question was, how can I help without enabling? How can I help people in active addiction? And I was like, nothing financial, and then went on to say that I give them money. And I'm like, sometimes I say things and think you know what I mean, but then I watch it over and I'm like, bitch, you just contradicted yourself. So, what I mean by nothing financial, an example of that, paying bills for them. My mom knew that I was struggling and she would still pay my hydro bill and she would still bail me out that way continuously. When people are in the deepest, darkest times of their active addiction and they're unhoused and on the streets, I don't see anything wrong with helping them in small ways financially at all. But when I said nothing financial, like if it's your adult daughter and she's constantly getting evicted, bailing them out in that regard, it to me is enabling when it's a pattern. And that's all I meant by that. There's different, it's a scope, active addiction, right? It's a spectrum. I've been on the entire spectrum. I've been high functioning and low functioning. When people are in low functioning, um, giving them $20 when they're unhoused and on the streets isn't enabling, Linda. You know what I mean? When they are constantly being evicted and their kids don't have food and stuff like that, you're prolonging the inevitable because functioning addicts don't exist. They're functioning until they're not functioning, right? So bailing them out in that regard to me is enabling. It's a case to case basis thing, always, always. But I felt that I needed to clarify because I was like, bitch, you just contradicted your whole ass self. Okay, here we go. Do you think, Jesus, Murphy, do you think there's a difference between using because you want to die and using because you don't know how to live? I answered that already. It's a spectrum. When you are on the low end, low functioning, unhoused, experiencing uh, horrific things. When you're out there in the streets, you experience horrific things. And a lot of the times when I was in that way, in that state of mind, in that situation, I was using because I wanted to die. I was just waiting for it to happen. Ready and willing, I was tired. And I didn't think recovery was possible. When I was high functioning, and I had my kids and my home and my car, and I was going to college. I still had a horrible OxyContin addiction, but I was high functioning. But you're only high functioning until you're not, right? And that happens very quickly. Um, for me, it did. Anyways, yeah. I just was using because I didn't know how else to live, right? I would get on MAT, but then get no counseling for what I was experiencing because you need counseling to deal with the root of the issue, right? Anyways, I already answered that question. Do you ever worry that healing made you less raw and real? No, no, because this whole time, I think it's made me better. When I was in my victimhood for a very long time in the beginning of my recovery journey, I was in my victimhood, and that doesn't help anybody to not take accountability for the acts that you perpetrated and make yourself out to be a whole ass victim when you're absolutely fucking not. I was a victim too, but I perpetrated my own fair share of misery onto others. I was a villain in many people's stories. So I don't think that's real and raw and authentic. I think having accountability for my fucking shit fucked up behavior is what makes me real and raw and authentic because I can take accountability for my fucked up behavior. Whereas before I was the victim. Victim. You can be a victim and a villain though. Like that's real. That's the reality. I was hurt and exploited and abused and did the same fucking shit to others. Hurt people, hurt people. And I don't think not acknowledging that, I don't think that's real. The fuck? Do your kids ever watch your videos and listen to your podcast? Probably. Probably. So it does say 18-year or adult content, like 18 and up or some shit on my bio on TikTok because I don't think kids should be watching my content at all. But they do. I see them in my profile views. And then they get very upset when I block them. I don't know. It's a hard take because there's kids in like my orbit who will watch my stuff even though they know I don't want them to, and then will say to their parents, "So and so's mom is amazing. Life is real. This is real. They live like." I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I really wish they wouldn't, but I know the fuck they do. I know the fuck they do. So I don't. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is. I don't know what the right thing is. We can just scold them. You want me to scold them or block, like they get angry when I block them. Always. Because I have more than once, because I was just like, yo, I've asked you not to. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. But I make content with that in mind. I don't get nitty gritty and gross. I cuss up a storm, but I'm a cussing parent anyways. I just try not to like defame anybody they love. My kids are always in my mind when I'm making my content, to be real. I've had to add disclaimers that I don't tell this story to vilify anyone. And there are people in this story who worked really, really hard to change. And I don't tell this story to try to disparage their achievements. And I've had to add that shit because my babies, bruh. So I'm just out here trying to do my best. Shit. How many times did you almost die before you got clean? So many. Especially at the end there when I was doing down and crack. That many times. Been Narcaned a whole lot. And I'm just gonna bolster that statement that I said when people are out there and they're unhoused and they're using and they're on the really low spectrum of functioning when in regards to addiction. I was watching this video of Kensington Street or whatever in Philadelphia, and it's just people doing the fentfold, right? And these people are filming, and the guy that's filming, he sees somebody that is obviously looks like they're dead. Like they look like, to me, they were no longer here with us. To me, I would have Narcan them. I would have Narcan their ass, right? But that's just what I do. I don't give a fuck about your high, bro. I want you to live. So the guy goes to Narcan him, and everybody around, they seem to like come out of their high, and they were like, no. He's just high, bro. Don't fucking Narcan him. And I'm just like, what? You would rather be high than those people are the type of addicts who are using to die and don't want to interrupt their high, even if it means losing their life. That's where I was, right? That's where I was. And I know I have a friend who passed away, and he was in a situation just like that. And the people who were with him did not administer aid, and he passed. So, yeah, addiction is definitely a scope. Jesus Christ, this is so little. Jesus, did you ever relapse after jail? Yeah, I went on a whole fucking 4-week bender, bruh. Yeah, I got out of jail and I went on a friggin' terror. And I ended up dead in a snowbank, blue in a nightgown, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Got Narcan, didn't think that was enough. So I went and robbed a drug dealer. And then he bear maced me. And then the cops showed up in my apartment. I was bear maced. And they were like, I was on bail, right? And they were like, yo, we're not going to breach you. Just let us in. Like, we know you're hurt. We know you got bear maced, bitch. We're going to call 911. And I was like, yeah, please. And I let them in. And then I went home to my parents' house. I think I was in and out of it for a few days. And then I came to and I went home. And that was it. I didn't look back. I practice harm reduction. I smoke a lot of weed. I drink when the time arises. I've done mushrooms, magic mushrooms. I've microdosed Molly a couple times in the 5 years. It helps restart your fucking. My brain gets into really destructive loops sometimes, and that's why I find harm reduction is very life saving, because instead of going out and using my drugs of choice, I do other things that I know will help me make me feel better. Yeah. But no, I've never relapsed on my drugs of choice, ever. In the beginning of my recovery, I went out to the bar a couple times, or I'd go to my girlfriend's and do like a line of coke here and there. That was just like the first year of my recovery. And then I had to make a choice. I include that time. Bitch, it's my journey. If you don't agree with that, okay. But since April 7th of 2021, I haven't touched crack or fentanyl or needles, and I have not done any 304 type action.